Hi my loves, and welcome to your Cosmic Weather Report for the week ahead. Now just a little heads up at the start of this report. This is going to be a big week of change. There are going to be changes this week. And so what I really want to say to you is that all of this is going to be much easier if you make conscious change, if you play an active role in these changes that want to be made in your life, rather than letting the changes happen to you. You're going to have known about these changes for a while. They're going to be things that for a while now have been stirring within you, niggling within you, wanting your attention. These changes are not going to come as a massive surprise. But if you've been really avoiding or hiding or not wanting to face certain things, they are going to really all come up this week. And so just know that this is going to be a week of change. And the more you can work with those changes, the more you're going to really be able to transform your life a lot over the space of this week. Now, what's also really interesting about this week is that we only get 2 major days of things going on, Monday and Sunday. And so it's almost like the universe, the planets, I was going to say know best, but of course we're always being guided and supported. Of course the energy's there, but it's going to work really beautifully with us. So let me get into it for you, and then it's all going to start to make a lot more sense. So first of all, on Monday, we get the Scorpio full moon. Now, many people use the word intense for a Scorpio moon. It's a word I hear a lot, oh my God, it's so intense, it's intense. And a Scorpio moon is intense. But the other thing is transformative. And so this moon is really going to come in and help you to transform and alchemize your life. This moon is going to illuminate all of those places in your life where there needs to be change. And most of all, what this moon is going to illuminate is where you constantly say you want things to change, but then you change nothing. So you say certain things of your life, I don't like my job, but then you don't do anything to actually change it. So it's almost going to be a big mirror that's going to get held up to us, that's going to show us where we make excuses, where we avoid, where we pretend things are okay when they're really not, or where we moan about the same thing over and over and over and over, and then don't do anything at all about it. So this is going to be a big energy that's going to come in, and it's going to illuminate everything for you and show you what it is that needs to shift and move and change and transform in your life. Now, we've also got on this same day, Mercury square Pluto. And this is an energy that will really show you deep truth. You won't be able to hide from the energy of this Scorpio full moon. And what it's going to most of all show you is where you're not being true to yourself, where you're not being true to what it is that you say that you want, where you're not being true to your deep desires, your deep dreams, where you're not being true to the life that you say that you want for yourself. And so with Mercury squaring Pluto, you're not going to be able to hide from the truth. And you're going to really be able to see where you do tell stories about your life, where you do pretend things are okay, where you do try to smooth over the gaps that are always coming through. So it's like there are cracks in your wall and you smooth them over and pretend they're okay. And then the cracks come again and you smooth them over. It's going to show you the same thing in your life, where there are cracks in your life, but you're smoothing them all over, pretending they're okay, and the cracks keep showing. And you're not going to be able to hide from those cracks in your life of what it is that needs your attention over this full moon. Now, this is also going to really show you where you are accepting less than you deserve, where you're accepting breadcrumbs, where you are giving away your power, where you're waiting for somebody out there to do something or to change until you can be happy. It's going to really show you where you hold yourself back, and all the little shadows and the little stories in there that tell you that you're not good enough, or you couldn't have what you wanted anyway, or whatever the little story is. And remember, we worked a lot on those stories last week. I asked you last week to really pay attention to your mind and the stories in your mind. So this week now, if there are any hidden stories and you were like, yeah, Kirsty, look, my mind's, I don't tell myself stories. No, I really don't. Any stories that you hide from, you won't be able to hide from them anymore. And equally, the voice of your intuition, the voice of your soul, the voice of that little nudge in there that's been saying to you for a while, it's time to leave, it's time to go, it's time to make this change, this isn't working for you anymore, this isn't making you happy anymore, this isn't fulfilling you anymore. That little voice in there that you've been like pushing down and ignoring and not wanting to listen to, you're not going to be able to avoid that voice either over this moon. This moon and Mercury meeting Pluto is going to bring the truth from the depths of you, like the deep depths. So those little niggles, those little inner stirrings, you're not going to be able to hide from them anymore. Now, as I mentioned, then we get like the rest of the week. And what this is really giving us is this really beautiful opportunity to make those changes that you know you need to make under the waning moon. So as the moon wanes and gets smaller, the moon asks us to shed, to release, to let go. And it's really important that we work with waning lunar energies, and a lot of people don't. A lot of people make wishes, set intentions, do all the stuff as the moon waxes and gets bigger. Full moon comes, we see everything, and then we forget about it until the next new moon. We go, oh yeah, I don't need to do anything with that. I'll look at it again at the next new moon. But if you don't do the work in the waning moon of releasing and letting go of what it is that you know you need to let go of, those same things will come up time after time after time, like those cracks in the wall. And then you wonder why the same things are there all the time and nothing ever changes. And it's because we don't do that real work of releasing, of letting go. So this waning lunar cycle is really going to ask you to do that. And what you're going to likely see through the week between the big energy on Monday and the Uranus Cazimi that we get on Sunday is that you're going to feel deep emotion, intensity, tension, frustration in those areas of your life that need the change. And so if you did manage to avoid on the Scorpio moon and go, okay, I'm just going to close the curtains and stay in the house and not listen to anything, through the week, you're going to really be shown, you're going to really be like tested in those life areas that need your attention. And so pay attention over the week. What is getting to you? What's bothering you? What's making you frustrated? What are you feeling angry about? What areas of your life feel like there's just tension there, intensity there? Big emotions, if they're coming up, what are they about? What are they towards? That's going to give you the real insight on what it is that you need to let go of as the moon wanes, so that you don't take it into the next cycle with you. And then to close off our week kind of really beautifully, we get on Sunday, first of all, the Uranus Cazimi, as I mentioned. So the Uranus Cazimi is when Uranus moves into the heart of the sun. You'll have heard me probably talk a lot about a Mercury Cazimi because it happens a lot more often. Uranus Cazimi only happens once a year. And as Uranus moves into the heart of the sun, we get this intensity. Now, this is the last Uranus Cazimi that's going to happen in Taurus, because Uranus is going to move into Gemini in July. Uranus has been in Taurus since May 2018. So that might be a good time frame to look back on as to, is there anything that's been in your life since then that you've constantly been like, this isn't what I want, this isn't what I want? Is there anything coming back around from that time? Is there anything you can think back to of May 2018? It might just be something to have in your mind. But this will be now the last Uranus Cazimi in Taurus. So it's going to go out with a little bit of a bang. Now, what Uranus Cazimi does is it breaks apart anything that is stagnant and stuck in your life. And as I mentioned at the start of this report, it's going to be things you've known about for a while, maybe since May 2018, maybe since the last Uranus Cazimi last year. It's going to be things that you've known about for a little while. It will show you the places in your life where you are stuck, where you're not free to be yourself, where you're shrinking, where you're staying small, where you're staying in your comfort zone. And it's going to really... it's just going to really blast apart. It's going to really break apart anything that is stagnant and stuck. So anywhere where you've been staying somewhere that you know you're not meant to be anymore, anywhere that you've been staying somewhere that isn't fulfilling you, that isn't making you feel like yourself, that isn't bringing you joy, it's almost going to be like, the kind of analogy I'm getting is it's almost like the lid's been on and everything's been bubbling, and the lid's just going to come off. The lid is going to come off. And you're really going to be able to see what's been bubbling beneath the surface, being like, this needs to change, this has got to change, this is what you've got to do. And you're not going to be able to avoid it at the end of the week. Now, if you've been working with those waning lunar energies all through the week and going, do you know what? I'm going to have the hard conversations. I'm going to do the hard things. I'm going to really start to make the changes. You might feel this energy as a sense of like, I feel free. It might bring like a really liberating energy for you where you're like, I feel free. I've shed that. I've let go of that. I've said that. I've done that. I feel free. But if you haven't done that work, if again you've avoided, this is when the lid's just going to come off. Now, to help with that, we've got two other really beautiful things happening on this day. We first of all got Mercury square Mars. Now, as Mercury squares Mars, this is going to really help you to make those hard choices that you've been avoiding for too long. So those things, again, those things you've known about, you've known for a while, this isn't working, this doesn't feel good. In order for me to be here, I need to shrink into a lesser version of me, or I need to keep agreeing with something I don't agree with to be here, or I keep needing to pretend to be that version of me I was 2 years ago to be able to stay here. Now you're going to be asked to make those hard choices, those choices that you've known, those choices that wake you up at 2 a.m, that you just know and you go, oh no. As Mercury squares Mars, it's going to ask you to make those hard choices that you've been putting off. But to help with this, we also get Jupiter sextile Chiron. Now, as Jupiter sextiles Chiron, this is a beautiful energy that's going to help you to move away from old wounds. So if it's old wounded parts of you that keep you there or make you stay, or old stories, it's going to help you to move away from those old wounds. If you've stayed somewhere out of a sense of obligation or guilt, it's going to help you to move beyond those old wounds. If you continue to do something out of obligation or guilt, it's going to help you to move away from those things. It's going to help you to break old habits, break old thought patterns, break beliefs that don't serve you. It's going to really help you to break away from anything that's been confining you inside, that then has been keeping you confined in the outside, because that version of you that's trapped in here has meant that you've stayed trapped in those places outside of you. So it's going to help you to almost open the inner prison, open it and be like, here we go. Let's just open this up now. Let's free myself. And therefore I can start to do the same in the outside world. And so this is a week that is going to, I was going to say ask for change, but it's going to demand change. This week will demand change. And as I mentioned at the beginning, the more you can make conscious change and work with this change, even if that means stepping into the unknown and something scary, you need to do that. You need to really listen to what you're being shown this week and work with that energy. So I really hope this has helped. As always, I'm sending you so much love for the week ahead. And in just under now 4 weeks' time, you'll be able to get my book, Your Cosmic Purpose, in your hands. And I cannot wait for you to get it. If you love these reports, it's really going to help you. First of all, we go into astrology and your birth chart, so you can find your purpose in your chart. But then I also go into a lot more information about how to trust the process, embrace the unknown, understand the dark night of your soul, raise your vibration, work with your spirit guides, look at your past lives, delve into the Akashic records. It's all in there. And so if something stirs within you when you hear me talk about that, it would mean the absolute world if you would pre-order the book. It makes such a massive, massive difference to how well a book does. And don't forget too that if you want more of this, I am going to be on tour around the UK as well, where we can gather together in person. I'll give you a little mini cosmic weather report of what we've got going on, and I'll be able to really help you to remember who you truly are and align back onto your soul's path to be who you came here to be. So you'll find all the details for that, either link in bio on my website, but I really, really hope to see you somewhere, and I'm sending you so much love.